scrolling through Instagram, obviously. In a world brimming with distractions and deadlines, it feels as though we're always behind, always trying to catch up, always trying to be better, and always feeling like we're never enough. My desk lays in ruins, a battlefield littered with papers, post-it notes, drawings, textbooks, and candy wraps. Overdue deadlines flood my inbox and are highlighted and red, and everything just feels so much. And can we just stop time for a second? It is no wonder that we find ourselves searching for every other possible thing that we could be doing except the thing that we need to do. And usually when I felt this, I convinced myself that I was not disciplined enough, that I was too easy on myself, too lazy, and that had to be why I was procrastinating, right? But after reflecting on my experiences, I realized the true reason why we procrastinate, and things started to make sense to me. And the unfortunate reality is that we don't get taught how to get things done. We just get told to get things done. Through this talk, I will walk you through 3 simple things that you can do to start doing and stop delaying. And things just may start to make sense to you too. But first, let's take a look at this. When we procrastinate, we are seeking temporary relief and escape. Why? Because we have not managed the negative emotions that we have surrounding a task. Feelings of anxiety, frustration, overwhelm, insecurity, and fear of failure. Consequently, we turn to short-term sources of gratification to try and relieve ourselves from those thoughts. And it is only when hours and hours have passed that we finally snap out of that spell, and then we regret all the time we wasted. And these feelings of regret and resentment only further fuel the negative emotions that continue this seemingly endless cycle. And you can thank the human stress response for that. Meet amygdala. It's the raccoon in our brains. It helps us to regulate our emotions and respond rationally to a threat. And so amid intense stress surrounding a task, our amygdala essentially perceives that task as a genuine threat. And so it tries its best to get away from it. So even though we acknowledge that we shouldn't put off something until the last minute, all that pesky raccoon's concerned about is removing the threat in the present moment. And so, it diverts us to do something more attractive, like going on our phones. And so how do we stop ourselves from, doing that? In order to tackle the root cause of our procrastination, we must address the mental clutter in order to break the cycle and stop that raccoon from going out of track. And I get it. Scrolling on TikTok is much more fun than facing the truth. But this will lead us to a lack of motivation in the long term. And a lack of motivation is often a lack of clarity. And after years of self-reflecting, I created my framework. 3 simple things that you can do to start doing and stop delaying. Clear your mind, space, and tasks. Which applies to anything from washing your dishes to writing 4,000-word essays. And so let me introduce it with an example that we're all too familiar with, writing an essay. And as I walk you through each of these 3 steps, I want you to keep in mind what is the most important thing that you have to do next. The first stage of the procrastination cycle is the negative emotions. And so the first step is to clear your mind, to breathe through the turbulent waves of overwhelm that cause you to not be able to do the things that you need to do. And so I would like everybody to place their feet so that they're hip-width apart and that you feel comfortable and stable. And place one hand just below your chest, right where your diaphragm is. And focus on the sensation of the rise and fall of your chest as it helps you to inhale and exhale air. And as you bring your attention back to the stage and back to my talk, do you feel more present? Do you feel more aware of your surroundings? And do you feel more calm? Controlled breathing through your diaphragm helps your mind to gain control over your body when it feels like you might just topple from overwhelm. It causes physiological changes that help to reduce the symptoms of a human stress response, like reducing your blood pressure and your heart rate. And even if you didn't feel anything from doing that exercise, you just proved to yourself that you can put your focus to something when you really set your mind to it. And so now, sitting on my desk again, document ready to write my essay, I ask myself, what am I feeling? What is really preventing me from doing this task? And I think of one word: perfectionism. As an artist, it is something that, it's a beast that never stops threatening me. Constantly erasing, tweaking, changing, reconsidering, readjusting, moving the color slightly and changing up the edges slightly and putting it into Photoshop, no. I get so fixated on the little, tiny, perfect details that I never begin. I never begin drawing. I never begin the essay. And so just like how the first page of my sketchbook glares at me with its blankness, the first page of my Google Doc mocks me for its lack of words. And just like how I will scribble all over the first page of my sketchbook to get rid of the pressure of being perfect, I told myself that I'll just write whatever, and it will absolutely be horrible, but at least it's something. And so now, once we have tackled the most challenging part, clearing your mind, we can now clear our space and tasks. Clearing our space involves removing all distractions and mess. It means turning your space from a wrecked battlefield into a place of focus and comfort. And aside from physical space, there's also digital space, such as removing unwanted emails, notifications, and tabs. And there's also a positive inversion where you bring in items of comfort that help to improve your focus, such as drinks, snacks, fidget toys, headphones, and music. And by clearing your space, not only do you allow your brains to better process information, but also the productive act of clearing itself can bring a sense of accomplishment that translates into motivation. And as you're clearing your space, you can complete the final step of how to start doing and stop delaying. Clearing your tasks involves breaking down exactly what you need to do, how much you will be able to achieve, and where you can get your help from. So as I approach the essay, I will think to myself, what sources can I use? What points will I cover? What criteria do I need to fulfill? And what should my structure look like? This is known as chunking, where you break down larger tasks into smaller subtasks that are more easy to manage, and therefore make it less difficult to be overwhelmed by the amount of work that you have to do. And just to put it into perspective, to show you how easily this can be put into practice, here are 2 note cards that I kept beside me every time that I was working on the script for this talk. The first one, Clear Your Mind, was there to remind me of why I was doing this. And the second, Clear Your Tasks, was there to remind me of what I had to get done. And through my preparations for this TED Talk, I asked myself what I wanted to get out of this. And I wanted to prove to myself that I can stand on a stage and talk to a large audience of people. I wanted to help others to overcome their procrastination so they too can make a positive impact on the world. These are the 3 simple things that you can do to start doing and stop delaying. Clear your mind, space, and tasks. I invite you all to take today as the final chance, the final push that you need to start achieving the dreams that you want to and can achieve. And remember that motivation starts with action. Thank you.